Now at 6, the family of a Sugarland man calls for an investigation after a man was shot by a retired police officer who says he was defending himself. We're breaking down this complicated case. Today is the deadline for energy companies in Texas to be weatherized and ready for cold weather. But did they do that? And are they really ready for the next storm? ABC13 is getting answers.
The supply chain, we're kind of being warned by our manufacturers to anticipate it maybe through next Christmas.
Toys are not immune from the supply chain woes, and it's not just impacting stores. Some charities are also having to dial things back this holiday season.
Everyone should know their HIV status.
Coming together worldwide and here at home on this World AIDS Day, Houston leaders share the ways we can end the HIV epidemic.
We begin, though, with breaking news in West Houston. A large fire off of Eldridge and Emmett.
Don Armstrong up with more details for us right now. Don?
Wow, a major fire out here. This is a Dericheborg recycling facility, and all of this stuff over here you see on the side, those are recycling refrigerators and refrigeration equipment, and this is a big pile of said items. And as you can see, fire is heavy at this facility. A big contingent of Cy-Fair Fire Department here on the scene. This can be seen pretty much all over the west side of Houston, although they are finally getting a tower spray on this fire. But as you can see, traffic is backed up in the area, and this portion of Eldridge is closed, so keep away from this. Major fire over here on the west side at Dericheborg Recycling Facility. Reporting live from Sky, Don Armstrong, ABC13 Eyewitness News.
All right, developing scene there, Don. We'll check back in later. Thank you. Okay, it's been 9 months since Winter Storm Uri exposed the weakness in Texas's power grid and left millions of us in the cold and the dark. Now, electricity generators are telling the state how they have better weatherized their system.
December 1st is the deadline for making the fixes and also for telling the state what those fixes are. Are they enough? ABC 13 reporter Tom Abrams joins us now live with some answers. Tom?
Gina, the short answer is we just don't know yet, and we may not know unless and until we get another deep freeze. More than 9 months after she lost power, this is the inside of high school teacher Sarah Gonzalez's home.
I had pipes burst throughout 2,000 square feet of my house, and my house flooded.
Insurance and construction issues aside, she's still worried about what will happen if the temperatures drop too low again.
I don't know if the next big storm or next year hurricane will happen, whether or not I'm going to be protected. I don't know. And that's really scary to me.
Rice University's Daniel Cohan thinks the grid in Texas is still at risk.
Yeah, we're prepared for a normal winter. We're prepared for a bit colder than normal, but I don't think we know how well prepared we are for another deep freeze.
Today is the deadline for power generators to submit to the state what they've done to weatherize themselves or face $1 million a day fine if they fail during a winter storm. ERCOT did not respond to our request for comment, but the Public Utilities Commission wrote to ABC 13 that December 1st is the deadline for electric generators and transmission providers to complete preparing for winter weather. They must file with ERCOT detailing compliance. Then ERCOT and PUC staff will resume about 900 reports. ERCOT inspectors will independently examine specific power plants and transmission facilities throughout December. On December 10th, ERCOT will file a public report addressing compliance. For its part, Generator NRG issued a statement to ABC 13 today, which read in part, NRG not only met the December 1st deadline required by law, we have a multi-year plan to continue to harden our fleet to protect against severe winter weather like we saw with Uri. They also pointed out they changed their freeze protection design standard to cover weather conditions exceeding the 98th percentile for temperature and wind speed. They're retrofitting units to meet this new standard, and they utilized expertise to assess actions to take in freeze protection systems. In the meantime, Sarah Gonzalez is holding her breath, hoping she can move home and does not lose power again because of cold weather.
I'm not confident. I'm not confident.
Reporting live in Houston, Tom Abrams, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
A former Sugarland police officer who shot his neighbor acted in self-defense, according to his former colleagues who investigated the case. Now they're recommending the neighbor who was shot be charged with assault. ABC 13's Stefania Coley joins us live from Sugarland with what's next in this case. Stefania?
Gina, good evening. This case is now in the hands of the district attorney, who was very clear in telling me today that they have not charged anyone in this case. Excuse me. Meanwhile, the family and representatives for Ozer Kazi here in Sugarland expressed a lot of frustration and anger in a case that they're calling one that is clearly biased. As officers responded to Sealis Creek Drive on August 1st,
Bart, you good?
It became evident through interactions captured on body camera video that they knew the shooter, a former Sugarland police officer himself.
It's Bart?
Yeah.
Are you hot?
Yeah. But give me 1 second. Actually, I can turn it on.
Ozer Kazi, who sat alongside his family in today's press conference, is accused of coming into his neighbor's garage after being asked to leave the property and attacking him. That's based off of the shooter's account.
So I'm holding the gun, he sees the gun, and by the time he gets as close as I am to you,
right,
he reaches up and grabs the gun, because by now I'm raising it towards him.
I didn't want to die, and I grabbed the gun. I moved my right ankle behind his ankle, and I pushed him to the ground.
Kazi maintains his neighbor pointed a gun at him unprovoked simply because he was crossing his driveway.
He was given inconsistent instructions by the shooter. At first he was told to get off the property, then the weapon was drawn, and then he was told to freeze.
The two have been neighbors for more than a decade, and on most days, the Kazi family says interactions are respectful.
He knew my son had some mental problem.
Has he ever threatened you or made any threats toward you?
No, all I've ever said is get out of my yard, don't come on my property.
Right.
And that was that one time.
After interviews with the shooter and a reenactment at their department where they referred to Kazi as the bad guy.
Yeah, we're going to switch and I'm going to play the bad guy.
Investigators went with the shooter's account, only recommending that Kazi, who was not armed, be charged with assault.
They made that decision based upon, the word of someone that had worked for them, where really what they should have done is recuse themselves immediately from the investigation.
I'm Svania Coley, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Many fans who were at Astroworld are still processing how it all could have happened.
Yes, and that includes the families of the 10 people who were killed in that tragedy. 9-year-old Ezra Blunt's family is refusing to accept Travis Scott's help paying for his funeral. Remember, Scott offered to pay for all of the funerals of those Astroworld victims. We've also confirmed the families of 5 other victims have turned down the offer as well. Scott, Live Nation, and others face hundreds of lawsuits over what happened at Astroworld.
You shouldn't have to go to a festival and see dead bodies.
I think there's a sort of collective trauma that's happening with a lot of these people that were in attendance. People wondering if they could have done something, if they should have seen something.
This type of investigation is going to take weeks, possibly months.
How many changes will be made in the future?
I love you all.
Some have to, right? We can't have an unsafe situation like this. But to insist that everything will be different because of what we saw that Friday night, history says otherwise.
Astroworld Concert from Hell takes you through what happened in the crowd, plus what happens next as investigators search for answers. You can watch Hulu now. Just search Astroworld.
Okay, we're also tracking the latest on COVID-19 here in Texas. So here's the latest data from state health officials. And according to our partners at the Texas Tribune, the average number of new cases and new deaths in the state remains down, while the average number of hospitalizations are up. Vaccinations are also up. And right now, 69% of eligible Texans over the age of 5 have had one vaccine dose. 59% are fully vaccinated, and 2.7 million Texans have had their COVID booster. The city of Houston is now testing wastewater for new Omicron strains, and the city says the most recent result from last week did not detect it. Wastewater testing allows city health officials to test for different variants. The health department is also able to determine how much the virus is spreading throughout the community. Meanwhile, the first confirmed case of Omicron variant has been detected in the U.S., specifically in California. The person who has it returned from South Africa last Monday. They are fully vaccinated and have mild symptoms that are improving. They're in self-quarantine.
You just have a deficit all across the board. So we are short on funds, we're short on toys. We're not short of needy children.
Local charities are struggling this holiday season with inflation and supply chain issues. More after the break on what they're doing to combat it this holiday season.
Today is the start of what we call meteorological winter, but winter weather is nowhere to be found across the country. Temperatures running well above average. I'll let you know where winter weather is hiding out and when we could get some cooler air into Texas coming up in your full forecast.
2 traffic hotspots for you at this hour. Inbound on the Southwest Freeway right before the West Loop, a very busy interchange. Everything slowing down with a stalled vehicle in the center lane. And then also the Katy Freeway outbound just beyond Grand Parkway at the Katy Fort Bend Road. We've got a multi-vehicle wreck that's truly causing a backup with 2 to 3 lanes blocked. Everything to the north and the west side incredibly busy tonight, especially the Katy Freeway. You are in the loop. You are in the red from the West Loop to the Grand Parkway.